Okay, so these are all of the topics I'm going to cover today. There's a lot of them, and I will cover them in two ways. One is through the presentation, the PowerPoint presentation that I'm doing now, and the other is we'll be doing live demos, and this is where I'll choose some sample images and we'll kind of do some stuff to them. So if we choose the remove tool, it's right here. And I'll make my brush smaller. And again, we'll do these little placards. And we click the check mark. It removes it. And it does a really good job. Now, the remove tool decides on its own whether to use generative AI or content-aware fill. And in this case, it used content-aware fill because if you noticed, it happened really quickly. It didn't go to an Adobe server. So in that case, it was really simple. But what happens if I choose this picture? And it didn't remove it, it replaced it. And didn't replace it with a very good picture either, I might add. Now, we could come back here again and do it a second time. And I don't have to check this. I'll show you why in a second. And it did a mirror, which doesn't make any sense. But in any event, you have an option up here, remove after each stroke. And I generally like to uncheck this. So I generally like to, let's go back, I'll undo these. I generally like to be able to highlight something. And maybe I want to highlight two things. So if I did remove after each stroke, it would go back to an Adobe server each time, and I'd have to wait for the first one before I did the second one. So this way, by unchecking remove after each stroke, I'm basically can highlight as many things as I want, and then I can click the check mark and actually have it do it. And again, this is the remove tool. You'll see it's not removing. Depends what you highlight, whether it decides to remove it or replace it. Neural filters. Has anybody used neural filters?
No.
Neural filters is probably like, it's been around for at least 3 or 4 years. And hardly anybody even knows that it's in Photoshop. And they're amazing. They're absolutely amazing what you can do with neural filters. They're still in beta. Photoshop still calls them beta, some of them. But they all work pretty good. Some of them not so much, but they're a lot of fun to use, and you can do a lot of interesting things with neural filters. So they're basically AI filters, and they're accessed from the filter menu. So you can see where neural filters is in the filter menu. And basically, these are all of the neural filters that are available. And you notice that some of them have the word beta next to it, and some don't. Is what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 have beta next to them. You can see it, like right there, right there, right there. But a lot of them don't, and they're considered out of beta, but they're all kind of experimental, if you will. I'll show you colorization because this one's pretty cool and it's incredibly easy to use. So here's an image. If you don't recognize that baby, it's me. And that's my mother. And this was taken many, many years ago on Old Orchard Beach in Maine. And basically, I only have a black and white image. There was no color photography back then. So I went into neural filters and I chose colorize, and you basically just turn on the little switch. And you notice that you have all kinds of options here for colorizing. You can also choose to manually color, which is it's a weird process. doesn't work that well, but you can try it. Auto works the best. And in this case, this is the image that it created. And literally one click. ACR, look at my screen.
Yeah,
See where I'm hovering at the top right?
yeah.
That's the preferences. You can also do this out of Photoshop. If you go to Edit Preferences, then choose Camera Raw Preferences, and you go to Technology Previews, you need to have this checked off.
Okay, I just, no, okay.
So if we come down here, we choose the Erase tool. We have reflections in here. And I'm just going to click on reflections. Yes, try it now. I am trying it now. I think it's doing it. Takes it a few seconds. Okay, here we go. So this is with the reflections removed. And again, we have this slider and we can bring them back. And if we put this at 0, this is the original image. If we move it back, we get to see the reflection. So it basically, I don't know why you'd want anything in the middle. It's either all or nothing as far as I'm concerned. But that's pretty amazing, pulling that out of this image.
Mhm.
And it definitely gets rid of the reflection.